Deep beneath London stood a number of small iron-barred cells lighted by candles. There was but one cell which dared to make noise, and from this one cell was one sound. One ceaseless, irritating sound between stifled cries. No! Jack! Jack! No! My love, no! He was restrained from top to bottom by iron chains, reduced to a repulsive sight of skin more blue and bloody than pale. A whip met him at all hours, rattling him till he was both in pain and numb at once. He could not speak of the difference.
Do you know the money we put into letting you attend Harrington? All for you to tumble into some fondness for the people there. Did you forget your debts, you traitor?
Gah!
All of Jack's years learning to bear pain without making a sound were little help here. He cried with each crack of the whip, and on the whip he saw his blood fresh from whippings, perhaps layered over dried blood from some other victim in this place. He grit his teeth and endured.
It'd be a damn shame for our investment to be for naught. Know that your days won't end here, but you won't be returning to that academy as you are now. The only place you belong is with us. Only with us. Only to do our bidding as you've been made to do. There is no heavenly life to be sought, and this punishment will continue till you learn to stop searching. It is only by your luck that we wish for you to live, but whether you'll one day be dumped into the sewage is not for your will to decide. Hear me, Jack. You are but one of many pawns for Spellbound. Never forget it.
The blood ached as it dripped from his open wounds. Salt from sweat stung in a way he never thought possible. The pain was too much, far too unbearable. His bones must have cracked or been exposed in some places. Shallow breaths lasted him, but this was painful as well, and to make the conscious effort of breathing pushed him to his limits.
Got what I deserved. I was a sodden idiot to give him a hand.
It was one cell. One cell with one ceaseless crackling that was awful to all within earshot, and its victim fought desperately to keep silent to no avail. And in this one cell, so full of abuse, could he still find one thing to heal him. The detectives. Their kindness had won him completely, and she in particular was a treasure. I'm gonna cry. This is breaking my heart. Jack, no.
Guess I won't be seeing her again for a while. Emily.
A cold swept him. This cold and pain mixed to dominate what little hope he strained to keep. His memory grew hazy. Hazier. Soon against his struggling there was nothing at all. You can't go from that to like Lupin's drinking hot chocolate with Mycroft Jr. is probably what's going on here. Jack, my sweet Jack, you don't deserve this, my sweet bean boy, no! I must rescue him.
Ah, I am still quite fond of London's air of sophistication. But they do say there truly is nothing like home now, don't they?
Home was Montmartre, Paris, 340 kilometers south of the foggy city of London. Sitting in the corner of a bustling cafe at dusk was Lupin. The thief exhaled as one would to relax.
Ah. What I miss more than London, however, is you, dearest Emily. It breaks my heart to have parted, but alas, I made an enemy of not just Professor Moriarty, but the organization as a whole. I cannot chance to stay, knowing the danger you would be forced to bear. My life as a student was a good one, but I am a knight to his princess before a boy hitting the books.
I'm just shaking my head. I can't with this game.
Although, with that distressing butler she has with her, I'm sure I have nothing to worry about. My job is now to simply enjoy the bohemian lifestyle here in Paris.
Really? But I should say, it's a bit too soon for that.
He was addressed very suddenly from behind. The seat behind him creaked, and there he was met with a strange fellow whom he did not recognize. Oh my goodness.
My two favorite boys in one picture. I can't.
And you are?
Who am I? Yes, yes! A common question upon meetings, but I've an inkling you may already know.
I haven't a clue.
Oh, don't say that. I don't very much like that answer and would prefer another. France has been too kind to bestow upon us this meeting a mere year after beginning my studies abroad. Or, as one here might put it, quelle agréable surprise. Truly, the pleasure is mine. Fate always has a way of bringing two people in need together, and indeed she has today worked wonders for us.
She more plays the trickster with me. I prefer to meet with works of beauty, and here she brings me a suspicious man.
Ah, do you doubt my character? I believe it is common for Parisians to converse with strangers. And believe me when I say that I am no enemy of yours, just so you're aware.
Whether you're friend or foe is for me to decide.
You know, you look like the sort who could bring a woman to her knees with a wink and a whistle, but you would sooner turn tail and run upon the first hello, wouldn't you?
Then perhaps I set you a good example. You look like a child desperate for attention.
Do I? We've only just met and you know me so well. Shall we be as two birds, then? I can't return to London quite yet, the same as you. The moment I thought boredom was going to be the death of me, I find you. We ought to be friends, chumming about and doing as good friends do. Come, I shall treat you to something nice. Do you like chocolate? This cafe's Pont Viennois chocolat is liable to drive me to orgasm one of these days.
Damn, that's some good chocolate. I think not. Well, he tried. Big Ben sang its song loud enough for all of London to listen. Pendleton, in the dimly lighted shower room of the Whiteley mansion, first removed his tie, then his jacket, blouse, trousers, and all till he was fully undressed. Just picture it in your mind's eye, everyone. But no, it's a touching scene rather than an arousing scene. This has been a roller coaster ending. My emotions are all over the place. I don't even know what I'm feeling anymore.
Master Robert, Lady Olivia, am I doing the right thing?
The room was furnished with a rain bath, which he stepped into. He turned the spigot to be welcomed by an immediate warmth from above. And when he rested his hand against the wall and closed his eyes, the better to focus, his many insecurities he kept locked up were permitted to seep through wet skin. It's hard to imagine Pendleton having insecurities.
To allow her to stay in the city exposes her to danger. Finding a nobleman in Edinburgh or Paris might bring her the most happiness in time. Standing by her choices and wishing for her happiness is my duty. But how can the path she's chosen to take end in anything other than grief? I don't wish to see her as she was again. What if something causes her to go beyond a breaking point, beyond repair? I have effectively died once. I am set in how I shall use what I have now. Why, then? Why must I feel so anxious?
Pendleton hung his head. The water was warm, and still he felt terribly cold. A week had passed since the fire. Contrary to then, the day was now brilliant and clear. My home had been restored to its original splendor in this short time. To the perspective of those who never witnessed the night's dramatics, it was as beautiful as it had always been, and so they could remain in blissful unknowing of events I would forever keep in mind. This mansion has been rebuilt 3 times. Granted, this time it didn't completely burn down, but still. I was grateful to those who stood with me as I fought my childhood demons. There was guilt, too, for entangling them in a battle that was solely mine, but that they cared enough to leap into the fray was enough for me. My inner courtyard was now, for their partaking, furnished with a table covered in food prepared by Pendleton.
It was very gracious of you to invite us here today, Miss Whiteley. I'm pleased to see your color has returned.
The deuce! Look at this food! Emily, can we eat all this?
Kobayashi, that is no way to greet your host. I was in the middle of schmoozing.
It's charming in its own way. Please, have your fill. Look, Emily! I brought some of my baked goods with me. I'm thrilled with how they've come out, too. I hope you'll try them. Oh my! You've baked so many scones and biscuits. You really shouldn't have, Hudson.
This is quite a party. A shame Lupin and Jack couldn't join.
Please don't break my heart, Watson. My heart is with Jack in a cell. It certainly is. I wish one of us knew how to get in touch with them.
What does it matter if they couldn't come? Lupin would have broken the plates, and Jack would have been so quiet that you would sooner mistake him for one of the pillars in the garden.
Jealousy does not become you, Holmes.
I may be mad to ask it again, but is using polite language truly so hard for you?
I've no idea what you mean. Now, if I may speak, Miss Whiteley.
I believe you already are. By all means, Holmes.
I take it the reason we're here is because we have business worth discussing.
Holmes's expression was a wondrous one, with a strength greater than any I had seen from him before. He was more than confident in a logical sense, but confident in himself. He believed with all his heart that his chosen path was true. Yes, very much so. After last week, I've begun to think more readily about what I must do. I spoke deliberately, ever conscious of the eyes around the room focusing on me, and I could look back to each of them and know that I would turn away from the truth no longer. I would no longer close my eyes and pretend it wasn't there. I will be taking a leave of absence from the Academy. My world has grown so much there since I was given that recommendation. I have no regrets attending on behalf of Her Majesty, for I would never learn what I have otherwise, nor would I have met any of you. With growth comes a change in perception. I feel I can no longer go as I am now, attending lessons with a careless smile, carrying on as though I've never seen how ugly the world can be. I can, I suppose, but what good is change if I don't change more? I would waste it and be powerless doing nothing, and that solves nothing. There was freedom in this notion, this wanting, and certainly I had once now from that night. The prospect of death at night had been merciful to me. I could see my desires replenished utterly by the symbol on that knife, a clue I could not put a price on, the luck I had to recall it. The symbol cut a path for me. No matter the danger, the path was clear for me to walk, and walk I would till I had what I wanted in my grasp.
Then how do you plan to keep this up?
There are things worth studying that can't be found in our daily lessons. I want to study more practical things seriously, do more critical thinking, gain new strength. Not just as a detective. I want to learn self-defense properly and how to use a gun. Pendleton's agreed to teach me. Hot diggity damn! I am up. Sign me up! Where do I sign? Take my money! Please. I can't believe you're actually gonna teach her. This is so important for a girl who runs into fog-lit streets on a whim.
Indeed. I shall be as dutiful in the matter as I strive to be in all things. It sounds as though your future is made up. You'll face anything that may come. Well then, there's something I'd like to say too since we're all here. I will be taking a leave of absence also. My dad's taking part in the war in Afghanistan as a military doctor, and I'll be going to assist him. I've been conflicted till now, if I'm honest. But hearing you, Emily, makes me want to gain that same strength. I agree with you. That isn't something we can find whiling away our days in a classroom.
Watson spoke with equal clarity to me and Holmes, like a man who was lifted upon expressing a decision that had weighed him down for too long.
I've not mentioned this to you at all. Sorry, Holmes. You've been so busy that I didn't know how to bring it up. I had a vague idea, regardless. You've been perusing the international pages of the paper with great interest recently. I merely said nothing about it because, well, I'm in a similar position.
Not abroad, too.
Indeed. I will be taking part in the Boer War with my father. As a soldier, however.
What? Literally fighting? That was not something I was expecting.
I don't feel as though I know enough of the world to do battle against that organization with confidence. The sound of artillery fire rattling off at all hours should do the trick.
Don't know what I expected you two to be doing, but it wasn't either of those. You're both going to be taking part in war?
This is all very sudden, though I hear the Empire has all but claimed its dominance in the Boer War. There's hope in you going as a doctor, Watson. You'll be saving lives rather than taking them. The danger is still present, but you won't be on the front lines.
I doubt there will ever be such a thing as being safe on a battlefield. Not that either of you would listen, even if we tried to stop you. What a funny thing this gathering has turned out to be. I was considering time off as well. I wanted to go back to St. Mary Mead and continue my studies there. See to it that my reasoning and observational skills as a detective are put to use in an independent setting. And learn more about tea and cakes too, naturally.
God! If all of you leave London, Akachi and I will be up to our eyes in cases.
Remember, we came to English to learn things we couldn't in our homeland. Each of us has different ways of learning, and even different places to learn from. But we mustn't take this as having found our place. Our studies between now and their return will be crucial to our own growth.
I like the way you think. Aw, but don't do any more than you do now, please. Don't know if I can handle it.
The room was inspired. It was full of hope, full of wanting, with glittering eyes and smiles that refused to leave us. Except for Hudson, who faced the ground and thinned her lips as she bit down. Hudson?
I was happy beyond words when you finally came out of your room. But now we're all going our separate ways. I thought this was our time to be together again, and then all this happens. I don't know how much more I can cry.
I wrapped my arms around those tiny shoulders that shook. At last she could speak. Cry away your sorrows. We're all coming back. Why, it'll be a shorter time than you realize that we'll be away, growing stronger and wiser. Then we'll all come back to you.
Really?
Really. I promise. This is the only time we have to do the things we want. Any more time spent pondering over it, and the time we could have studied and learned will have blown off with the wind. We can't face Spellbound the way we should were we to do that.
So it's all the best for your futures, then?
The very best. So I don't want you to try and look for work as anyone else's assistant when I'm not here, because you're the only one I'll ever need. That was very sweet, Emily. Hudson slovenly wiped away her tears.
Of course! I would never dream of leaving you. I shall do loads of studying too. I'll become the greatest assistant this country has ever seen. No, the world. The world's #1 assistant, leaving Watson and Kobayashi in the dust.
What? You will?
She's a fast learner, boys. And very smart. She might do so in less time than you think.
With that settled then, I'll make the rest short.
Poor Watson and Kobayashi. They're like, what? But we're so good. Aw, man. Holmes cleared his throat with a quick whilst he acknowledged each one of us one by one. Yeah! Musketeers, let's do this.
2 years. We'll absorb all we can in the places we've chosen and meet again in 2 years.
2? TW? But we'll have graduated by then.
It simply means we'll have to focus our studies on something that can't be learnt in school as the others will be doing.
Like what?
I can think of quite a few things. Western martial arts, swordsmanship, and tactics are of interest to me. All I know for certain is that we won't be returning to Japan anytime soon.
Holmes, I don't want to find news of you finding a new assistant after I'm gone. Do you hear me? I would never, Watson. I'll wait till you've fallen on the battlefield to find a more capable assistant than you. Then you won't have to hear even a word of it. Don't say it when it could really happen! Huh. I'm very curious to see how much each of you will have changed in 2 years' time.
As am I. I can't wait for us to meet again and make more priceless memories. Brilliant, unforgettable memories that will strengthen us for years to come. Birds flocked to the sky upon the ringing of a bell in the distance. The early afternoon sun shined its light down upon our weary shoulders to give us strength. Indeed, it would not be long before spring revisited London. Is that it? And so their world blossoms anew, happily ever after achievement unlocked. Oh, this music? For the end? Several years pass. The capital of fog remains rife with curious happenings. Our fair within the familiar halls of Harrington Academy, the opposition remains. Oh my goodness. I can't even read this fast enough, even in my head. Oh, to be continued. Oh, I also got the illustrator achievement. I'm done. I'm done in more ways than one. Everyone is in far-off flung corners of the world. Oddly enough, the two that traveled from far corner of the world is staying in England. I guess Emily is still there, but she's not going to be in school. She's going to be learning how to use a gun. Dang, girl, go get it. Holmes is going to Africa. Watson's going to Afghanistan. Marple's going back to St. Mary Mead. Hudson's busy studying. Jack is in France with Moriarty Jr. Mycroft is busy doing Mycroft stuff. And have I forgotten anybody? Oh, of course I forgot someone! Jack! Jack is stuck in the dark cell being whipped to within an inch of his life as he gets, like, brainwashed. Oh, my heart. My poor Jack. This fate was not kind to you. Oh, I've got so many feelings about this. But I'm not going to ramble about it for hours here because this is not the time, nor the place. For right now, we are done. We finished the true grand end of London Detective Mysteria with hints of a sequel that has never been made, because this came out in 2013. I know it says 2019 down in the corner there, but that was the PC port. But the fact that they ported it to PC gives me hope that they're still thinking about this story. So maybe one day that continuation will actually happen, and I would be more than there for it if it ever happens. But as I said, I'm not going to talk about this now. Stop it! Stop it, me! Stop it! Stop talking! I need to process everything that happened here and take all those ramblings and put it into tomorrow's video, which is my final thoughts. So, if you want to hear me continue to yak on, then I guess you're gonna have to wait for tomorrow's video, everybody. So in the meantime, I will thank you once again for joining me for this series known as London Detective Mysteria. I had the best time with it. I hope you guys enjoyed your time here as well. Thank you very much once again. And yeah, if you'd like to hear my final thoughts, then I will see you in tomorrow's video. But otherwise, thanks again for the journey, and until next time, I will see you later.